Good morning, student. In the last class, what we discussed about the new chapter, that is a basic concept of hoops, right? So we are continuing with the basic concept of hoops. So here we have the some of the characteristics of the hoops. So what are those? The first one is a object. Next is a class. We already discussed about class and object. So today's class we are going to discuss these two in detail. And what are the next? Data abstraction. Data abstraction. These are all characteristics of the hoops. So they may ask the question for 5 marks. So what are the characteristics of hoops? You should mention all the characteristics and you should explain any 5 characteristics in detail if they ask for 5 marks. Okay. So first one is object, class, data abstraction and encapsulation. Next, dynamic binding. Dynamic binding. Then data abstraction, encapsulation, dynamic binding, and then next one is a polymorphism. And inheritance, and the last one is a message passing, and the last one is a overloading. So these are the characteristics of the hoops. Okay, in the last class we have started with a new chapter, that's a basic concept hoops, right? So you have learned that about what are the procedural language, right? Object oriented language, right? And what's the difference between the object oriented and procedural language? The next topic is a characteristics of hoops. Okay, so these are the characteristics. So hoops. Okay, so if they ask for the characteristics of hoops, you should mention all the characteristics. The first one is object, and next one is a class, data abstraction, encapsulation, dynamic binding, polymorphism, inheritance, message passing, and the last one is a overloading. These are the characteristics of hoops. Okay, the complete object oriented programming is running under by all these characters. So each character is very important in the concept of hoops. Why it is important? Because of all these characters, then only the object oriented can form a one programming language. Without this characteristic, the object oriented programming is nothing but zero. Okay, that's why all the character of this hoops concept is very important, and you should know about every characteristic. You should learn every characteristic. You should understand every characteristic. Then only you can understand the programming language. So I already told you. So this chapter is very important. Once you learn this chapter, then only you can understand the next one. Otherwise, it may be difficult to understand the next and later chapters. Okay, that's why I am telling you. So please understand this chapter. Then you can easily understand the next one. Okay, we will see the detail of each characteristic. The first one is a object. In the last class, I told about, or we discussed about object, right? In the last class, we were discussed about object. So what is object? So I explained that an object is nothing but a name, place, or the table of data. This is called as a object. The student can have the object right? Student is the object. For example, student is the object. So what is object? Object contain the data member and member function, right? So this is what we have discussed in the last class, right? Data member and member function. Data member and member function. This is what we have discussed in the last class. What is meaning of this data member and member function? Right? Data member is nothing but the variable which is indicated in the object. Right? For example, student is an object. Student is an object. The student contains the name, age, and the combination, right? And register number. So these all variable is related to whom? The student, right? Name is the student name, age is the student age, and combination is the which combination the student is belongs to which combination, and register number of the student. So this all the variable is called as a data member in the object. Data member in the object. Right? What is object? Object is a collection of the data member and member function is called as a object. Right? This is what we were discussed in the last class. So here the data member. So what are the data member? Name, age, combination, register number, which means which are the variable we are declared in the program or object, that is called as a data member. Then what is the member function? So include these. We have the some data function. That's a get function, display function. These are the function. The function is indicated with the open and close bracket at the semicolon at the end of the function, right? So this indicate the function. So if I am write under this or related to this student, which means the get function, which means what it will do, it will get the or it will read the data member in the object student, and displays also, it will display the what are the data member in the student list. Okay, this is called as a object. Object is nothing but it is contain or it is a collection of the data member and member function. What is data member? So for in the example of the object student, the student contains the student name, age, combination, register number. These are the data member, and the student object contains get function and display function. These are the member function. This is called about the object. So I hope you understood what is object. So this object, so we discussed. So now what you got? So object is a collection of the data member and member function. Okay. So this is the first point. So what is data member? Data member is a variable declared under the object, and member function is nothing but is a function declared in the object. So this is the member function and data member. And then what are the other features contained the object? The object should be unique name. The object should be unique name. Why? Because each object is identical. Identical is nothing but it is unique itself. It is unique itself. For example, student is a one object. Student is a one object. So I am not going to write the another student here. If I give the student as another object, it won't take, it will show the error is already declared. It's already declared, which means object should be a unique name. ನೀವು ಏನು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ಹೆಸರು, ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಒಂದೇ ನೇಮ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೇಮು ಅದೇ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೇಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಶೋ ದ ಎರರ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ one. So it is a little different because it doesn't contain any numerical value, but it contains the numerical value, that is 1. Student is the one object, student 1 is the another object, right? Again, student is the another object. Student 2 is the another object. It should be unique itself. It should be unique itself. There is no any other duplicate value for the object. Okay, this is the one feature. And the next one is the object can be any place, any person, any table of the data. So object can be any person. Person which means you can give any person name, and place, any place you can give as an object, and any table of data. Table of data which means the data contained in any database table. So you can give that data as a object. Okay, so these three can be a object. So you can give any person's name, so the person's name also become an object. Any place name also become an object. Any table of data also become an object. This is the another features. These are all advantages of the object, or else is this character of the object. Okay. The next one, all the objects should be under any one class. Okay, which means the object should be declared under the class. It should be declared under the class. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಪಲ್, orange, some other Goa. So these are the fruits, right? These are the fruits. You can take it as a objects. Apple is one object, orange is another, and Goa is another object. Another object. These three can be in the family of fruits. This can be a family of fruit, which means fruit become a class here. Here these are objects, which means the object can be declared under the class. Object can be declared under the class. Whatever the object you are going to declare, that should be inside of any one class. So that is very important. So first of all, what is object? Object is a collection of the data member and member function. Obviously, see here, this is the object. It is a collection of the data member and member function. You can write. So this the apple is a one object, orange is the another one, and Goa is the next one. So apple contain its a name, right? Which breed? Okay. So all the data members may contain, and all the member function contain, and again this also contain all the data member and function, and this also contain the data member and function. Got it? So each object, see here what I have explained before this. So each object contains the data member and member function. So we have discussed these things only in the before of this topic. Okay. So data member and member function contain the object. So here we have the three objects, right? These three objects can be declared in the one class. Okay. So object andrenu, it's collection of the data member and member function. Okay. So ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So fruit is a class, right? Fruit is a class. The fruit contains the three objects: apple, orange, and guava. And each object contains the own data member and member function. So this is how we are declaring and representing the object inside the class. Okay, this is very important. So first, what is object? Is a collection of the data member and member function. Okay, so all the object can be any person name, place name, and it can be any table of the data. The next one, so all the objects should be declared inside the class. Then what is class? Class is a collection of objects. Class is a collection of objects. That's it. Okay, you should understand this. What is object? What is class? What is the difference of this? And how we are representing the class and object, how we are using this class and object, then only you can understand the programming languages. Okay, so I hope you understood. So what is object and how we are declaring and what are the objects contains and how we are representing the object. Okay, and also the object, it will be stored in a memory, obviously, right? So whatever the data or whatever the information we are giving to a computer will store in the memory. Same thing when you are creating the object will be stored in a memory of the computer, right? Which means memory of the computer means it will take the space in the memory. It will take the space in the memory of the computer. Then when it takes the space in the memory, automatically address will be created of that object, which means each object has the own address. Each object that have the own address in the memory. Okay, so ನೀವು ಏನು ಡೇಟಾನ ಮೆಮೊರಿಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಆ ಮೆಮೊರಿಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ಗೂ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿಂದ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ವೇರ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಮೆಮೊರಿ. Okay, so which means the object is stored in a computer's memory. So when it is stored in a computer memory, automatically address will be generated for the object. And the next one, object will be communicate with the another object when the execution of the program. When the execution of the program, which means it will take a time to communicate the one object to another when execute the program. The program execution time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಆವಾಗಲೇ ನಾನು, student is a one object, right? The student contain the name, age, combination and the register number. So these are the object and this contain the data member. Okay, when execution time, the name will be communicate with the age will be communicate with the combination will be register number. It will happens when it is the execution of the program execution ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು object will be communicate each other. So by using the message passing, ಮೆಸೇಜ್ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ. So these are the one characteristics of the object. Okay, so what is object now? Object is a collection of the data member and member function. Okay, it can be declared as any person and table of the data and the place, right? And all the objects should be declared inside the class, right? Then it will be take the memory space in the computer memory, and when it take the space in a memory, automatically the address will be generated. Next is the object will be communicate each other when the program is executing. So these are the characters of the object. So I hope you understood. We'll go for the next characteristics, that is class. You should understand what is object, what is class. I hope you understood now what is object. Let's see about the class. So what is the meaning of class? So as you know that the class is a classroom, so don't think that classroom. So class is one of the characteristics of the OOPS concept. Okay, so in general what we are thinking about the class, there's a classroom. So for example, we'll take this classroom as an example for this class. So in a classroom, who are all in the classroom? All the students, they are in the classroom. So the students are the object. The student are the object, the class will be a class. Okay, student is the object, the class will be a class, which means the class is a collection of the object, right? The classroom is a group of students, or else it is a collection of students ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್. ನೀವೇನು ಇವಾಗ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಎರಡೂ ಸೇರಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೇರಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ರೈಟ್? How you are declare data member and member function, right? Number of data member and member function can be declared inside the one object. The same thing, number of the object can be declared inside the class. ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 2-3 ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 2-3 ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ that have identical property, common behavior and shared relationship. So what is the meaning of the object contain the identical property and common behavior and shared relationship? Identical property, which means I already explained that the object should have a identical itself. Identical itself is nothing but it should be unique. It should be unique. Each object should be unique. That is an identical property, right? The student 1 is a different from student 2, right? For example, I am taking student 1 is the one object, student 2 is the another object. For example, I am taking the example, student 1 is the one object, student 2 is the another object. Student 1 and student 2 are the identical, which means they are unique themselves. They are unique themselves. The student 1 it should not be same as the student 2. So the student 1 name is changed, right? So here also here are the names. The data member and member function may be same, but the complete object should be changed. It's a different. And is also contained, yes, right? In the classroom, you have the different students in the class. So each student is identical themselves, right? Each student is identical themselves. Then automatically the name may be same, the age may be same, combination should be same, and the register number it should be identical. It should be identical. So means the object should be in the identical form. That's why the class is a collection of the object which have the identical property. Identical property, which means it has a unique name. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬರ ಥರ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟು ಅವರೇ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೇಮ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಏಜು ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ನಂಬರು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೇ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದೇ ಥರ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗಿದೆ, ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರದ್ದೇ ಓನ್ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಕಂಟೈನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ property. It contains completely identical property. Okay, so here name, age, combination. Okay, here also are the same thing. Okay, so this is the object 1, this is the object 2. Consider student 1 is the object 1, student 2 is the another object 2. So what is the class definition? Class definition is a collection of objects which have identical property, common behavior, and the last one is behavior and shared relationship. Now we have to prove this one. We have to prove this definition, then only we can accept the definition of the class. Okay, so here now what is class? Is a collection of objects. Obviously So this is the one object, another this student 2 is the another object. This is a collection of the object. Okay, each object is a unique property because each student is a unique each other. Okay, and common behavior, of course. See here, student 1 has the same data, student 2 also has the same data, which means they behave same. They have the name, they have the age, they have the combination, still they have the same behavior, right? There is no difference, any behavior between these two, right? Common behavior. And the last one is a shared relation. Shared relationship, and then what is the meaning of shared relationship? Which means I already explained that object will be communicated when the program is executing. The object is communicating when the program is executing. How it will be communicated? Through a message passing. Through a message passing. Here also the student 1 will be communicate the student 2. So how they are communicating? Through a message passing. So if they are communicating each other, which means it build a relation between them. It build a relation between them. Right? In the classroom, we have here have the number of the student. Number of the student will communicate each other, which means they have the good relationship between them. That's why they are communicate easily. ಅಲ್ವಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಏನಿದೆ, ಗುಡ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇದೆ, ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಅ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಡ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾನ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಡೇಟಾನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಡೇಟಾನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ದಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಶೇರ್ಡ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. This two become a class. Here, see the definition of the class now. Class is a collection of the object. Yes, it is a collection of the object. These are the objects. Right? Objects. So it's a collection of the object. It contains the identical property and common behavior and share the relationship. This is what is class. This is what is class. Okay, I hope you understood what is class now. So what is object? Object is a collection of the data member and member function, right? That is a object. What is class? Class is a collection of the object which have identical property, common behavior and shared relationship. It called as a class. So you should know about what is class, what is object, and what is the difference between class and object. Then only you can understand the further topics. Okay, so I hope you understood about class now. Next, the class is also contained the function. Don't forget that it doesn't contain any member function. It also contains the function. I just didn't written here, but it also contains the function. Okay, so object is a collection of the data member and function. Member function, you should write data member and member function itself. Don't use any other word instead of data member and member function. You may lose the marks for that, because that is very important word when you are using, especially explaining object in class. Okay, data member and member function. So you should remember these two words, because we are going to use these words throughout the subject. Okay, throughout the subject or throughout this chapter. Okay, next, the next property is the data abstraction. The next property is the data abstraction. What is the meaning of abstraction? Have you heard about the abstraction word? What is the meaning of abstraction? Abstraction is nothing but a, I hope you all see in a book. When you open your first sheet of your book and the textbook or any other novel or anything, so they have given abstraction, then some of the brief explanation, and open the next sheet, you will get the content, and when you turn the next sheet, you will contain the depth of the topic, right? So then what is the meaning of abstraction? Abstraction in the general meaning is nothing but it is a brief explanation of the story. It is a briefly explain the story. It is a brief explanation of the story. Brief explanation is nothing but they are given only summarized of the story. They have given only the summarized of the story, but depth of the story you should read complete book. Okay, that is the general meaning of the abstraction. Then what is the meaning of the data abstraction here? The same thing here, data will be explained briefly, not in detail, Data will be explained in briefly but not in detail. So that is called the data abstraction. Definition for the data abstraction is data abstraction refer to the process of representing essential features without including any explanation, without including any background explanation or details. This is the definition of the data abstraction. What is that? It refers the process of representing features. It is a process of representing the features without any background explanation. So that is called the data abstraction, which means here we are going to explain the data as in a brief way but not in a detail. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ನೀವು ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್ ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಈ ಥರ ಇದೆ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ನೀವು 2-3 ಅವರ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಓದಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ನೋ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್, ದಿ ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಯು ಆರ್ explain to your friends. Same here, the data will be explained briefly but not in detail. So that is the data abstraction. Okay, so what is the definition of the data abstraction here? So it is the process of representing the features of the data but data without any background explanation, which means here we are going to explain the data in briefly but not in a detailed form. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ 1 ಅಂತ ತಗೋತೀನಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ನೇಮ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ನೇಮು ಏಜು ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಏಜ್ ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್. ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ನೋ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಏಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ and what are the combination he take the student. So you doesn't know about the complete explanation of that one object. You don't know about complete explanation of the one object. You only know the brief explanation of the data. That is called as a data abstraction. So as of now you should know about what is data abstraction. That is more enough. Don't think too detail of the data abstraction. Okay, there is no any detailed explanation of the data abstraction here. Just they have given what is data abstraction. You should remember what is data abstraction. It is a process of representing features without any background detail, okay, or explanation. That is called as a data abstraction. The next one is a data encapsulation. So what is the meaning of the encapsulation? Encapsulation is nothing but you should hold something. Encatch means you should hold something. Encapsulation, which means you should hold what? You should hold the data. That is a data encapsulation. So general meaning of the encapsulation is the hold something. So it will be hold what it will be hold? It will be hold the data. That's why it become a data encapsulation. You can also say the data hiding. Data hiding. So by name say we are going to hide the data. Right? What the data hiding is represent? It represent we are hiding the data. Hiding the data, which means we are give the security to data. Right? So here data encapsulation is nothing but wrapping of the data and function into a single unit. We are wrapping the data and function in a single unit. It called as a data encapsulation. For example, take this the one box, anything. So here we have two different form. So one contain the data, another one contain the function. Okay, this data and function wrapping with the this box, which means we are hiding this data and function as a single unit. Right? We are making in one placing in one box. It is a single unit. Is called as a data encapsulation. So what is the definition of the data encapsulation? We are wrapping the data and function as a single unit is called as a data encapsulation. So data ಮತ್ತು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ರ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಟು ಡೇಟಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್. ಡೇಟಾ ಮತ್ತು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. Okay, so what is the use of giving the security this to data and function? So data become a private, which means it's a reserved. So no other can be see the data. ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅನ್ಆಥರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್. Only who is the authorized of the data, they can only access this data. Unauthorized not be allowed. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನೀವೇನು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್, ಜಿಮೇಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್, ಏನು ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ನೆಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಡೇಟಾ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದು ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನೀವು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಎನ್ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಸುಲೇಷನ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಡೇಟಾ ಮತ್ತು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟು ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಹೈಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ID ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ what you have used the Facebook account, Gmail account, whatever the account you are using through online. So basically it's commanded by data encapsulation. This is also called as a data hiding. Okay. So this is about the data encapsulation. Data encapsulation is nothing but wrapping the data and function in a single unit, that is called the data encapsulation. Why we are using this data encapsulation? Because of giving the security to a data and function. Okay. So this is the one object. The next object is a inheritance. The next object is a inheritance. Next object is a inheritance. So what is the meaning of the inheritance? Have you heard about the word inheritance? So inheritance is nothing but some of the existing property. We have some of the existing property. It will acquire the properties of the existing thing to the future thing. Which means, for example, ಈಗ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ನ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ, ಪೇರೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಗೂ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಪೇರೆಂಟಿಂದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಗೂ ಸಹ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಬೇಸ್, they are the base, and child will be the derived. So child, it inherit the genes from the parent. The child inherit the genes from the parent. ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಜೀನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಮಗುಗೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಥರನೇ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್? ಮೀನ್ಸ್ inheritance is the process by which one object can acquire the properties of the another object. One object can acquire the properties of the another object, that is called as a inheritance. ಸೊ ಜನರಲ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಜೀನ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಜೀನ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಅನದರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನಂತೀವಿ, ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್? Inheritance is the process by which one object can be acquire the properties of the another object. This is the definition for the inheritance. And the existing object is called as a base class. The existing object iruttala, base class. For example, ಇದು object 1 ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಇದು object 2 ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. So what is the inheritance definition? The object will be acquire the properties of the another object, which means the object 2 will be acquire the properties of the object 1. So ಈ object ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆಯೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಇದು ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ, ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿಂದ, ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತೀವಿ, ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಅದನ್ನು ಆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನ ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋ ಅಂಥ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, because you have the another chapter name, that is inheritance. So in that chapter they will give the complete detail of this inheritance. So before we are going to the chapter, you should remember what is inheritance, what is base class, what is derived class. So if you understood these three things completely, then the chapter will become completely easy for you. Okay, so what is inheritance? Inheritance is the process by which one object acquire the properties of the another object. Here I am taking the example of the object 1 and object 2. So object 2 will be acquire the properties of this object 1. The object 1 is the existing object. This existing object is called as a base class. The acquired object is called as a derived class, which means the base class, the derived class acquire the properties of the base class. ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿನೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಈ ಡಿರೈವ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಮೀರಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಕೊಡೋಣ ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 1 and this is the derived class 2. Okay, here see here the base class, this is the base is the one object, derived 1 is the another object and derived 2 is the another object. These two objects, it acquire the properties of the base class. The derived 1 and derived 2 classes are acquire the properties from where? From the base class. So that is called as a inheritance. ಹೇಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಜೀನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿರೈವ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎನಿ ಒನ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಓಕೆ, so that is about the inheritance. This derived class is also called as a subclass, or it's also called as a subclass. But usually we are use the derived class itself, but sometimes we are using the subclass. Subclass and derived class is both are same. So base class is a base class. Okay, we'll go for the next object, that is a overloading. There is a overloading. What is the meaning of overloading? What is the meaning of overloading? General meaning of overloading. Overloading is nothing but is completely fill the some box and still we are adding into that box, it become a overload, right? The water tank. So you are fill the water to the water tank until the top, still once it completes, still you are trying to add the some of the water, it will become a overload. That's the meaning of overloading, right? So here also we have the overloading in the OOPS concept. Means overloading allow the object to have the different meaning depending upon context. So which means here the overloading allow the object, have the some different meaning depending on the context. So have the different meaning depending on the context. ಓಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಂತ ಅರ್ಥ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಓವರ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಯಾವ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಓವರ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸಾರಿ, ಓವರ್ಲೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ it allow the object to have the different meaning depending on the context. Right? There is a definition of the overloading. In this overloading, we have the two types. There is a function overloading. The another one is a operator overloading. So, what is the meaning of function overloading and operator overloading? So come to the function overloading. The function overloading means the function name should be same, but the argument list is different. The function name should be same, but argument of the list of the function that should be different. For example, here I am taking the addition. Addition is the one function. I am taking the addition is the one function. So I am sending a comma int b, right? So this is the function. You know that how we are declaring the function. You have studied in your first year. Okay, so addition is the one function. So what is the argument list here? Here we have the int a and int b. So a and b are the variable in the type of the int variable, right? In the data type of the integer. Data type ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟಿಜರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, a ಮತ್ತು b ನ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಯಾವ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, and you know that you have studied about function. The function name should be unique. It doesn't have any other duplicate function name. So you have studied in your first year that. But here we are using the same function name but different argument list. Argument list should be different, then you can use the same function name. So here see, addition is the one function. I am declaring the a and b is the another variable as a type integer, right? Data type in a integer. Here I am giving float c, float b, and another one addition long a, long b. See here, all the function names is the same, addition, but the argument list of this function is different. Hello? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಇಂಟಿಜರ್ ಎ ಬಿ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿ ಡಿ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಎ ಮತ್ತು ಬಿ ನ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. Which means function name can be a same but argument should be different. It should be different. Then we can say this function as a function overloading. Okay, have you understood now what is the function overloading? Function overloading is nothing but function name can be a same, but different argument list should be contains. It should be contain a different argument list in a function. Then we can say that this is the function overloading. Okay. So this is about the function overloading. We'll see about what is operator overloading. Here, the operator should be same. The operator should be same. The data type of the operator, the variable, that can be a different. That can be a different. For example, I am taking so addition. Add is the function. Okay. Here I am giving here a plus b. Okay. And here also I am giving this some other name, subtraction, but I am not doing subtraction. I am giving something addition, it seems. Okay. And subtraction 1. So just I am giving the function name is different, but I am giving the operator is same, plus. So here, see here, all the function of the variable with the same operator, that is plus, which means it become a operator overloading. Okay. So this is the operator overloading, which means we are use the same operator for the different variable and same function. Different variable but same function name. Here we have the function name, that is add, but only the different variable we are going to add. So with the same operator with a different variable with the same function name. So that is called as a operator overloading. This also can say that it's a function overloading. Okay. So this is about overloading. What is the meaning of overloading? Overloading allow the object which have different meaning of the object depending on the context. That is the overloading. In a overloading, there is a two type: function overloading and operator overloading. What is function overloading? The function, two or more function have the same name but different argument list. That is called as a function overloading. And operator overloading, which means the variable may be different but operator is the same. That is become a operator overloading. So you will discuss in detail in the later chapters. So we will go for the next operator, that is dynamic binding, or another one is the dynamic binding. So what is the meaning of the dynamic binding? So dynamic binding is nothing but the one program will connect it to the another program. That is called as a dynamic binding. The definition of the dynamic binding is the one program will be communicate with or connected to the another program. That is called as a dynamic binding. Which means some of the code in a one program that may connected to the another code of the another program of the code. Another program of the code, that is called as a dynamic binding. It will link the procedure call to the specific sequence of the program. For example, so this is the one program, this is the another program. So it contains two program, but this two program is communicate. It should be communicate because this two program become a one large code. This two program become one large code. You can say that one function. It can be a one function. This also can be a one function. When execute this two function, it can be communicate. It can be communicate. So here some of the code this sum of code, it will be what the dynamic binding will do. This dynamic binding will be link the procedure call to the specific code of the another program. The procedure call iruttala ee program aden madutte, that will link to the another specific code. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ 2 ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ 1.function ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಗ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಡಾಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇದೇನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಕಾಲ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ directly link to the some specific code. So this specific code is calling the another program. So it's just about, it is linking the two program. It's connecting the two program, that is called as a dynamic binding. This is about the dynamic binding. Okay. So I hope you understood what is dynamic binding. Dynamic binding is nothing but it will connect the two programs together, that is called as a dynamic binding. Okay, we'll see the next object, that is a polymorphism. Next one is a polymorphism. So what is the meaning of polymorphism? So polymorphism is the ability of an operator and function to take multiple form is known as a polymorphism. The ability of the data and function, operator and function, the ability of the operator and function take a multiple form. So I already explained that what is overloading. In overloading we have the two operators, that's the operator overloading, another is the function overloading. So what they have do, so with the same name it will be repeatedly we are using the function, that become a function overloading. Same thing here, the data, operator and function take a multiple form. Same thing as your overloading. Now overloading, the function will be take a multiple form, then it become a function overloading. Here the operator and function, both are taking the multiple form, that is become a polymorphism. For example, I am taking the shape, I need to draw is the one function, shape function. Okay, so this is the example. Shapes, you know that triangle, rectangular, that all the shapes. I am going to take the function name, that is a draw. So there are the different meaning of that. Shapes can be a different shape. The first one is a cube, is a one shape. I am taking the draw. And another one is a triangle. Draw. Another is a rectangular. So these all are shapes. Yes, cube is a one shape, triangle is a one shape, rectangular is one shape. But this here all are the same name, function name, that is a draw. So here the shape is a one polymorphism. Here the function and data are taking a multiple form. The shape is a one function or one operator, it taking the multiple form. The shape can be a cube, the shape can be a triangle, the shape can be a rectangular. But all are the shape, but it taking the multiple form, that is called as a polymorphism. It's nothing but you can say that overloading. You can say that function overloading, that is also same as your polymorphism, right? So in function overloading, what they have explained, so they draw is the same function, right? Same function, only whatever the data we are taking, the argument is taking is different. Here also the draw is the same function name, only the shape is a different form. It's a multiple form, that become a polymorphism. Okay, polymorphism and overloading have the almost same concept. So I hope you understood about what is polymorphism. Polymorphism is taking the both ability of the operator and function to take with a multiple form, that is called as a polymorphism. Okay, we'll see the next next characteristics. The last one, that is a message passing. That is a message passing. What is the meaning of message passing? In a message passing, you know the general meaning. So this message passing is nothing but communicate two people. Communicate the two people, that is a message passing. Here also same thing, two objects can be communicate each other, that is called as a message passing. Message passing involves the specific of the name, specific name of the object and name of the object that can be send the information. This specific object and function can be sent the data or information, that is called as a message passing. Okay, the name of the object and name of the object and name of the function can be sent the information, that is called the message passing. And the object ಮತ್ತು function ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, information ನ send ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಈಗ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತೀವಿ, ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಲೋ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಡ್ ದ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಅ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್. Okay, I already explained that what is message passing. These are the characteristics of all the OOPS concept. What are the characteristics of the OOPS? The first one is the object, next is the class, then data abstraction, then what we have discussed, overloading, then encapsulation, data binding, polymorphism, message passing and overloading. So these are the characteristics of the OOPS and we have discussed the complete detail of the each characteristics. Okay, I hope you all understood complete characteristics of this OOPS. It is very important in this chapter because they may ask the question for 5 marks. Okay, so one 5 marks question is compulsory from this chapter. Don't forget it. So frequently they'll ask for the application of OOPS and advantages, disadvantages of OOPS. It may be asked for the 5 marks. They frequently ask that application of OOPS and another one is the advantage and disadvantage of the OOPS, and the last one is the characteristics of the OOPS. This in 4 questions they will ask any one question for 5 marks. That compulsory. Okay. So next we'll see the advantages of the OOPS. Advantages, disadvantages and application. So once we done with this 3 topic, it completes this chapter. Let's complete this chapter today. So we'll start with the advantages of the OOPS. Advantages of OOPS. So what are the advantages? Till now you have completely know about what is OOPS concept and so what is the characteristics of OOPS and what are those. So complete topic now you know that. So now you have think about what is the advantages of the OOPS. So we have the complete characteristics of the OOPS now. Then you will get the some of the points to raise the advantages of the OOPS, right? What are the character of the object, what are the class of the object, each and everything you know now. You can try to raise the advantages of the OOPS. So what is that? You can modularize the program by using the principle of object and class, which means using the object and class, you can modularize the program, which means you can implement the program, you can manipulate the program by using the object and class. That is one advantage. You can modularize the program by using the principle of object and class. There is a one advantages, and you can reduce the duplication of the code. You can reduce the duplication of the code. Means what? Duplication of the code. Using the function overloading, you can avoid the code can be repeated. You can avoid the code can be repeated. That is a duplication. Code can be reduced, and you can reuse the function, same function. You can reuse the same function, which means once the function is defined and declared, so that function can be repeatedly used in another program. That can be repeatedly used in the another program, which means you can reduce the duplication of the code. The next advantage, that is how easy and reduce the software development time. You can reduce the time. So easy to develop the software development. Easy to develop the software, and it will be reduced. Why it is easy? Because of duplication code. So if you are consume the code line, automatically the development of the any software become easy, and it takes a shorter time than the larger time. And the next one is provide the data security. It will give the data security. Means what? By using the data encapsulation, it gave the data security. Right? I already explained that what is data encapsulation. So that data encapsulation, the data and function can be completely wrapped as a single unit. It provides the data security. So that's why you can use your account, which means a Gmail account or any Facebook account. You can access through a authorized access only. So unauthorized access is not allowed, which means it providing the security to your own account, which means it gives the security for data. So this is one advantage, that is providing the data security, right? By using the data encapsulation. You should write with the complete sentence. I'm just writing here the main point. Okay, in your notes have the complete sentence. And complexity can be minimized through inheritance. So using the inheritance, we can reduce the complexity of the code. Complexity of the code can be reduced through a inheritance. There is another advantages, and the object and function can be communicated through a message passing. The object and function can be communicated through a message passing. These are the advantages. So what is the first advantage? The object and class. Using this object and class, you can modularize the program, and so because of what? Overloading, we can reduce the duplication code, and it can be easy to develop the software, and it reduces the time to take the development of software, and it providing the data security by using the data encapsulation, and it provide the communication between the data and function through a message passing, and it reduce the complexity of the program by using the inheritance. These are the advantages of the OOPS ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂದನೂ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಒಂದೊಂದು ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ OOPS. We'll see the disadvantages of the OOPS. Disadvantages of the OOPS. So everything should have the advantages and disadvantages. The OOPS also have the lot of advantages and some of the disadvantages. So the first one is a larger in a programming size, which means larger in programming size. Program size means what? So when we are using the inheritance, when we are using the function overloading, the line of the code become a larger. The line of the code become a larger. That's why the program become a bigger size. That's the one disadvantage, because the number of the code will be increases. It will take the execution time. It will take more execution time to execute all the coding line, right? So it will take the more time, which means it gives the result also very slow. So there is a one disadvantage, that's a larger in the programming size. Because of this larger in the programming size, it can be a slower execution. There is a slower in a execution because of the larger in a programming size, and it is not suitable for the all type of execution. It is not suitable for all type of the execution. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಥರ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕೋಡ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಈಗ C++ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಕೋಡ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಥರ ಬೇರೆ ಥರ ಇರುವಂಥ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸೂಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಂಟು ಅ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಏನು ರಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ರಿಯಲ್ difficult to converting the real world problem into a coding ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ testing and debugging is not as a standard, is not as a standard level, which means whatever the debugging testing, ಈಗ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಕೋಡ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಬಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಟೂಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಟೂಲ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್. There is a one disadvantages, and polymorphism and dynamic binding is also require the processing time. ಪಾಲಿಮಾರ್ಫಿಸಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಟೈಮ್ನ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಮೊದಲೇ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಟೈಮ್ ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪಾಲಿಮಾರ್ಫಿಸಮ್ ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ consume the more time to execute the complete code. These are the disadvantages. What is the first disadvantages? It is a larger in the programming size. Because of this larger in the programming size, it take a slower execution rate, right? And it is not suitable for the all the type of the program, and it uses the polymorphism and data binding, dynamic binding. It requires the processing time, it consumes the more time, and the software development, debugging and testing tools is not as a standardized. These are the disadvantages of the OOPS. Okay, I hope you understood the what are the disadvantages of the OOPS. Let's know about what is the application of OOPS. This is the last topic in this chapter. Application of OOPS. So what is the application of OOPS? So these OOPS can be used to develop the computer graphics. You know the CG, computer graphics, animation. So to develop all the software of the graphics, then we are using the OOPS concept, and CAD and CAM software can be developed through this OOPS concept. Okay, so CAD and CAM software can be developed through using the OOPS concept. And object oriented database, we can create the object oriented database. We can create a database under the object oriented concept, and user interface design such as a Windows. ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ನೀವು ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ ಯೂಸರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಓಪ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್. ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ರೋಬೋಟ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯೂಸಸ್ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಟರ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಓಪ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಸಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಓಪ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್. ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ is nothing but developing the robot. So we are using the OOPS concept. And client server system. Client server system for developing the client server system, for example you can say that client, which means the overall taking the services from the provider. For example, the cloud service can be provide the services to the client. The client will be buy the services from the server. So that is a client server system. So for that client server system we are using the OOPS concept. These are the application. What are the application? Computer graphics develop ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, CAD and CAM. ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯೂಸರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಓಪ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ರೋಬೋಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಓಪ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸರ್ವರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ the product or we are using as of now, we are that all come under the object oriented programming. That all are developed come under this object oriented programming. So this topic end with this chapter. There is of the basic concept of OOPS. I hope you understood all the concept of this chapter. We'll start with the next chapter. That is the next chapter. There is a class and object in the next class. If you have any doubt you can ask me in a group or in personal contact number without hesitation. Thank you dear students.